In 2002, Elon Musk, who is one of the most disruptive CEO, began his quest to send the first rocket to Mars, an idea that would eventually become the aerospace company SpaceX. Instead of buying a finished rocket for tens of millions, Musk decided to create his own company and build the rocket himself. Within a few years, he had cut the price of launching a rocket by nearly 10 times while still making a profit. You might think, how is that possible? Hi everyone, it's Rizki here from Polytechnic Estialan Jakarta. And in this video, I'm going to inform you how industrial disruptors think. The objective of this video is to learn how to improve the performance of your business by using the first principle thinking. We will look at what it is, how does it work, why it's important, and also some example to illustrate it. The definition states that first principle thinking is the basic proportion or assumption that cannot be deducted from any other proportion or assumption. The idea is to break down complicated problems into the basic elements and then reassemble them from the ground up. Elon Musk said that he wants to send the first rocket to Mars. Musk then identified the problem and find out the problem was the substantial cost. Musk discovers the cost of purchasing a rocket was astronomical, up to $65 million. Musk realized that the reason for the rocket having substantial cost comes from the expensive raw materials. He began to rethink the problem. What is a rocket made of? Aerospace grade aluminum alloys plus some titanium, copper, and carbon fiber. Then he asks, what is the value of those materials on the commodity market? It turned out that the material cost of a rocket was around 2% of the typical price. Instead of buying a finished rocket for tens of millions, Musk decided to create his own company, purchase the raw material for cheap, and build the rocket himself. SpaceX was born. How to apply first principle thinking in business? How can we use the first principle thinking approach to find the best business idea? When creating a startup, an entrepreneur is confronted with the most fundamental problem: to copy or not to copy. Most people would opt for copying others or can make the existing idea better. Copying others is not necessarily a bad thing. It is sometimes necessary and more realistic. Most of us have an average life or career. Therefore, copying or following others is a normal or even a safe thing to do. Again, not a bad thing at all because it works for most people. Probably a civilization is mostly made of contribution from the average people. I guess we can debate this. Great startups mostly do not copy others or settle for average result. At least this is how the crazy entrepreneurial mindset should work. Doing something original business is hard. It is not easy to break down a business problem to the fundamental principles and work your way up from there. It really demands a lot of commitment and focus, and it also involves a lot of risks. In short, it is really hard if you want to innovate and create startup based on the first principle thinking method. For example, in our business we are challenged by the first principles when we think about questions like, what does the customer want? What's the customer's problem? We need to spend time answering these questions while avoiding any analogy as much as possible. If you are lucky, you might end up with a better idea than others have in the market. You see, by using the first principle, you already are trying to get ahead of the game. One just hopes that it works all the time. Let's put this all together. The first thing to do is to identify your current assumptions. Albert Einstein once said, if I had an hour to solve a problem, I would spend 50 minutes thinking about the problem and 5 minutes thinking about solutions. Second, break down the problem into its fundamental principles. The idea is to break down complicated problems into the basic elements and then reassemble them from the ground up. Once you have identified and broken down your problem or assumptions into their most basic truths, you can begin to create new insightful solutions from scratch. Thank you so much.